Brazil has won the World Cup 5 times. 5! They're the most successful nation in football history, and they haven't won it in 22 years. 22 years. That's longer than some players' entire careers. For a country that invented modern football, that basically defined what it means to play beautiful, attacking, dominant football, this isn't just unusual, it's almost impossible to comprehend. Yet, here we are. Brazil keeps getting close. They keep looking like the favorites. They keep finding new ways to not win when it matters most. And most people think it's just bad luck, but it's not. There's something much more specific happening, and understanding it will change how you watch Brazil play forever. Here's where it gets interesting. In 2002, Brazil won the World Cup in Japan and South Korea. They had Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, 3 of the best attacking players on the planet. They dominated. It wasn't close. They won 5 matches, drew none, lost none. They were the best team there and everyone knew it. Then something shifted. Over the next 20 years, the world caught up to Brazil, not just a little bit, dramatically. Other nations invested in football with serious money. Spain developed a complete system under tiki-taka. Germany rebuilt their entire academy structure. France found a pipeline of talent that seemingly never runs dry. Argentina learned how to organize their chaos. These weren't accidents. These were deliberate, sustained investments in becoming better. Meanwhile, Brazil kept playing like they were in 2002. They expected dominance. They expected their talent to overcome systems. And that worked when nobody else had systems. It didn't work when everyone did. In theory, being the most talented team should guarantee success. You have the best players, you should win, right? In practice, talent without structure gets exposed. Brazil had individual stars, everyone else had teams. And in modern football, teams beat stars almost every single time. Look at 2006. Brazil lost to France in the quarterfinals. Zidane's France wasn't more talented, they were better organized. In 2010, Brazil lost to the Netherlands in the quarterfinals again. The same story. In 2014, Brazil hosted the World Cup and lost to Germany in the semifinals 7-1. 7-1. That's not bad luck. That's a complete tactical mismatch where Brazil's defensive structure collapsed because they didn't have one. You know the type, the team that relies on individual brilliance instead of organization. That was Brazil for 2 decades. But here's the thing that actually matters. Brazil's real problem wasn't the players, it was the philosophy. After 2002, Brazil's youth academies didn't fundamentally change. The rest of the world's did. Germany completely overhauled how they develop young players. Spain created a specific style and coached it at every level from age 8 upward. France built a system specifically designed to identify and develop talent from diverse communities. Brazil kept doing what they'd always done, find talented kids and hope they developed into great players. This worked when Brazil was the only country serious about football. It didn't work when every country got serious about it. Then there's the other problem, distribution. Brazilian talent started leaving earlier. Players went to Europe at younger ages to develop. Some of them never came back for the national team in the same way. The connection between club football and international football weakened. A player developed in England or Spain for 5 years doesn't necessarily understand Brazilian football. They understand their club's football. And by the time they're playing for Brazil, they're out of sync with how the team is supposed to work. In practice, this meant Brazil kept having great individuals who didn't function as a unit. They'd show up to the World Cup, look incredible in group stages against weaker teams, then face a properly organized opponent and fall apart in the knockout rounds. 2018 was close. They had Neymar playing at his peak. They looked dangerous. Then Belgium happened. Belgium, a country that didn't exist as a football power 5 years ago, absolutely demolished them. Not because Belgium had more talent, because Belgium had a system. They knew exactly how to neutralize Neymar, how to pressure the midfield, how to exploit Brazil's lack of defensive structure. 2022, same story. Brazil looked great. Neymar looked great. They lost to Croatia on penalties in the quarterfinals, a team with half Brazil's talent but perfect organization and penalty discipline. Here's what's wild. Brazil's been getting closer. They've made it to 3 World Cup quarterfinals since 2002. They've looked incredible in stretches, but they can't finish. And the reason is always the same. They're playing like 2002. The rest of the world moved on. Some people think Brazil just needs a new coach. Others think they need one more generational player like Pelé or Ronaldo. But that's missing the point entirely. Coaches and individual players matter, sure, but what Brazil really needs is a fundamental shift in how they develop talent, how they structure their teams, and how they think about international football. They need to stop playing like the past and start building for the future. They need academies that emphasize positioning and pressing, not just dribbling and attacking. They need a philosophy that works in 2024, not one that worked in 2002. They need to understand that dominance doesn't come from having the best players. It comes from having the best system. Question isn't really why Brazil haven't won since 2002. The question is, when will Brazil finally accept that the world changed and they didn't? Because when Brazil figures this out, when they combine their traditional creativity with modern structure and organization, they'll be unstoppable. They have the talent, they have the history, they have the resources. All they need is the strategy. If you want to understand why some teams dominate for decades and others fade, why systems matter more than individual talent, and what it actually takes to win at the highest level, subscribe. We break down the stuff that actually determines who wins and who doesn't.